What's happening, everyone? Matt here on the Vinyl Head UK channel, and once again we have another amazing record from my growing vinyl collection to share with you guys. All right, so without further ado, let's see what we've got today. Alice in Chains, Facelift, a staple of the grunge era. All right, now this was actually sent to me as a surprise gift by a brilliant guy. His name is Stu, and Stu is the front man for a band called King Crab. You might not have heard of King Crab, but they're worth checking out. And do you know why? Because I'm the drummer. Go have a look for King Crab. We're on Spotify and Apple and all of that. But this was sent to me by Stu. I didn't know he was going to send it. He messaged me one day and said, Matt, I need your address. I got something for you. I said, all right, sent him my address. And then a few days later, this big vinyl shaped package arrived at my doorstep. And on the back were these lyrics scrawled across. And they were lyrics to my favourite track on the record, It Ain't Like That. See the cycle I'm waiting for. There it was in big writing. And I knew straight away what it was without even having to open it. But I did open it, and lo and behold, Facelift by Alice in Chains. And this was Stu's copy. I believe he's gone on to get a different copy. But yeah, this is Stu's copy that he very kindly sent to me. So this record was released in 1990. It was the first record released by Alice in Chains. And this actually is a 1990 original first pressing by Columbia. So a bit of a collector's item, really. I couldn't believe it when I checked it out a little bit more and saw exactly what it was. So Alice in Chains, as I say, they were or are a grunge band. They were part of the grunge movement. If you think of grunge, you think of Alice in Chains, you think of Soundgarden, Pearl Jam, Nirvana, bands like that. I always found that Alice in Chains were a little bit heavier in places than some of those bands. Don't get me wrong, you know, Soundgarden had heavy moments. But Alice in Chains, I always thought were a little bit heavier. And I think others maybe felt that. Although Alice in Chains were doing tours with similar bands, they were also, so Clash of the Titans was a good example. That bill was Slayer, Megadeth, Anthrax, and Alice in Chains. Alice in Chains opened that bill. So you got three big thrash bands in your face, thrash metal, and then you had Alice in Chains. But I think they won the crowds over just because, you know, there are some heavier, more sort of metal-y sounds on this album and on future albums. Okay, so Alice in Chains, who are they? Well, on this record, we have Layne Staley on vocals. I think most people will know who that person is, unfortunately no longer with us. On guitar, Jerry Cantrell. On bass, Mike Starr, another one, unfortunately, who is no longer with us. And on drums, Sean Kinney. And a fun fact, I know you like your fun facts. Sean Kinney actually played this record. He recorded it, apparently, with a broken hand. He took his cast off at the studio and he kept a bucket of ice water next to his kit as he was recording, kept his hand down, tried to keep it okay, and then would record his takes. That's a pretty amazing fact. Being a drummer, I don't know how I could do it with a broken hand or a broken arm, you know. So full marks to Sean on that one. Amazing, absolutely amazing. So let's have a little look. So artwork, very vibrant, a lot of colour going on there. I always thought it was like a clown to start with, but it's not. It's just a person looking kind of shocked by how good this record is, no doubt. I don't know why they're shocked. They shouldn't be shocked. Anything Alice in Chains puts out is good. And then flip it over. We have a couple of pictures of the band, kind of arty pictures, them in what looks like the desert, and then that top one kind of looks like they've gone for a big spider's web or something. There we go. On the back, we have our track listing. We have who the band is and all the usual thanks and whatnot. This is, as I say, from 1991, so it is a little bit worn. You can see just about there. That's really the only bit of wear on the record. But I don't mind that. It shows that it's been loved. It shows that there's a bit of history. So I'm not disappointed by that, you know. Yes, everyone likes their vinyl sleeves to be pristine, no doubt, but the fact this is from 91, you know, I want to see a bit of love and a bit of affection that's been to it. I want to know it's been played, and I know that Stu is a huge Alice in Chains fan. He's a huge grunge fan. He loves bands like Soundgarden and Pearl Jam, as I mentioned. So this would have got a lot of play, and it's already got a lot of play with me already. It's just continuing that care of it as well. Inside, inner sleeve, actually is the lyric sheet. So our vinyl is inside there, and then we have our lyric sheet for side A and side B, and then, no surprise, it's black. It's not 180 grams, it's quite flimsy. I won't demonstrate that, I don't want to break it. And then we can see we have CBS, Alice in Chains, Facelift, and then our track listing. And then flip side's the same in that red colour over there. So nothing too dramatic on the record itself. So track listing. Let me just slip it back in here so I know it's safe. I talked about caring for the vinyl. We want to make sure that we care for them even through this video here. No fingerprints. So, track listing. Alright, side 1. What an opening. We Die Young. Followed by Man in the Box. You can't fault that. Sea of Sorrow. Bleed the Freak. I Can't Remember. And then Love, Hate, Love. I'll talk about these tracks coming up. I'm getting excited already about talking about them. Side 2. It Ain't Like That. I said already it's my favourite track. Sunshine. Put You Down, Confusion, I Know Something About You, and then Real Thing, Sexual Chocolate. We all know how that ends, that track. I hope you do, else that's a really weird reference. Layne shouts Sexual Chocolate at the end of a track, just in case you were wondering what I was talking about. So those tracks, let me start by saying this is a vocal masterclass. If you want to hear a man sing incredibly, put this record on. Layne, as I say, unfortunately, he is no longer with us. We have William Duval as our vocalist in Alice in Chains, who equally is a fantastic singer. I don't know if he's quite on the level of Layne, but, you know, he still holds his own. But Layne was incredible. He just had such raw passion to his vocals. Man in the Box. I've seen countless videos on YouTube of people doing vocal covers of Man in the Box. No one has ever got anywhere near to how good Layne was. He was unique, one of a kind. I don't think anyone will quite match how good he was. But it's one of those tracks that, you know, people want to test themselves on, and rightly so, because it is a hell of a track. For me, the best vocal performance on this is Love, Hate, Love. There is such pain in his voice, and it's just music to my ears. I don't know how else to describe it. It's just, his voice is incredible throughout. He hits some incredible notes. He extends those notes on, especially in the latter half of the song, and it just takes your breath away. It is so, so good. We Die Young opens up the record. You're straight into riffs. This is why I almost feel, you know, you can hear some sort of, it's not metal as such, it's not metal per se, but you can hear heavier parts, and I think that shines through in We Die Young. Among others, there are other tracks on on this record which have sort of heavier elements to it. But yeah, We Die Young is such a powerful, riffy opener. It's a great way for Alice in Chains to introduce themselves. And then my favourite track, I couldn't bypass talking about my favourite track. It Ain't Like That. Again, it's heavy. It's not fast heavy, it's sit back heavy. I'm sure musicians hopefully will make sense of what I've just said there. But it's such a... It's not a riff that needs to be sped up as such. It's a riff that just sits back and it just takes its time. And that's what gives the heaviness to it. And then you've got Layne following on the vocal line with that. And it's so nice. It's such a great track. It's such a great record, full stop. I don't think I've really talked about a record that I don't like so far. I'm very enthusiastic about the music I love, and hopefully that shows through. I haven't found a record I don't like. I'm a completionist. So if I buy a record by an artist, I then have to go out and get all the other records in that back catalogue. So I'm sure there will be videos where there's records that might sound great, but I'm not as big a fan of the music. But so far we haven't found that, and this is just another example of a great record. It sounds really fantastic. The vinyl itself, there's barely, this is a credit to Stu as well. There's no scratches, there's no surface noise, there's no pops or clicks. A couple of my other records have a bit of surface noise and some pops and clicks. There is a record that I have from 1980, which I haven't covered yet, which will be coming up soon, which unfortunately hasn't got quite the love that this one has, and has a horrible pop through side A, but I will come on to that in another video. This is just so nice. It's so nice to listen to a vinyl with no surface noise. There's no pops or crackles or anything like that. It is so silent to play, and obviously that's what we want, because we want the music to shine through. We don't want to be listening to softer parts, which there are. Love Hate Love, for example, has some softer dynamic parts, and we don't want pops and crackles to be ruining that. And as I say, this one has not been ruined by that in the slightest. It sounds so quiet. Well done, Stu. You've done a great job looking after this. So yeah, it was a staple of the grunge era. I do like grunge. I'm not a fan of all of the grunge bands. My main two are Alice in Chains and Soundgarden. I've been lucky enough to see both of them. It is probably very likely we get to see Soundgarden again. And if we do, it won't be at all the same, for obvious reasons. But yeah, those two are my go-tos with grunge. I think maybe because there are heavier parts. I am a fan of heavier music. I do love country and blues, as I've stated before. But I do like heavier sides to music. And Alice in Chains do that. And they will carry on to do that on later records as well. So, there we have it. The debut record, Facelift, by Alice in Chains. And a couple of other little fun facts that I didn't mention. This was the first grunge album to be certified gold. And also, here's another little fact for you. I've read before that this is in the top 10 metal albums, even though debatable whether it's metal, one of the, say, top 10 heavier albums of Ozzy Osbourne. Facelift, it's right in there. I don't know what number, but it's in there. So there we have it, Facelift, Alice in Chains. The first grunge album as such. Go check it out. I think you need to hear it. I think you need to hear Layne and his voice, because it will rock your socks and probably blow them off at the same time. Till next time, hit subscribe, remember. Hit the like button. Hit that bell for all the notifications. Go and buy vinyl. Go and listen to vinyl. And I'll see you soon.